By now you understand that building a Flutter application is heavily reliant on working with packages. We're going to be working with something called Firebase. If you already know what Firebase is, you can safely skip this video as it's purely an introduction to the topic. However, I encourage you to watch. If you're still watching, that means you want to learn more. Now, let's dive into this. First off, what is Firebase? Well, Firebase is a real-time database and cloud storage and a whole lot more. To kind of get a little glimpse of what it is, let's look at their pricing structure. Unfortunately, Firebase is not 100% free. You can use the Spark plan, which is generous for limits for hobbyists, meaning, what you're building on your desktop right now will probably work just fine. But once you actually get a serious user base, you're going to need a Flame plan or a Blaze plan. This can get a little pricey depending on what sort of bandwidth and how much data you're using. Now, there's a lot of debate on whether it's better to use Firebase or build your own backend solution. But anyways, with Firebase, what do you get? You get authentication via Google authentication, anonymous email, telephone, Facebook. You also get cloud messaging, analytics, crash analytics. So if your application crashes, you can see what's going on. Dynamic links, invites, performance monitoring, real-time database. Now, what does that mean, real-time database? Think about state in Flutter. You click the plus button and a counter increases. Well, it takes that entire state and moves it into the cloud. That's right. It takes your whole state of your application, puts it right in the cloud. But at the same time, you still have your local state. So you have two different versions of state, if you will. It's actually pretty awesome. Then you have storage, meaning you can store files, pictures, images, databases, whatever you want, you can store it out there. And you get different cloud functions. For example, invocations and networking capabilities. You can also host your application right in the cloud, meaning they can just one click right out of Firebase and install it. You get a test lab and a lot more. And I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but it's really not. I'm not affiliated with Google in any way, shape, or form. Firebase just has a lot to it. The unfortunate side effect is because there's so much, there's no possible way I can cover all of Firebase in the next two sections. So what we're really going to be covering is we're going to cover Firebase Auth, which includes anonymous and Google authentication, and show you how to get set up with that. Then we're going to cover Firebase real-time database and Firebase storage, and that should be enough to get you on your way using Firebase. Now, Firebase is a big beast, and it's going to take time to get to know this, but we're going to ramp up fairly quickly. So the first thing you need to do is go to firebase.google.com and make an account. The second thing you need to do is have an emulator that actually has the Google Play Store installed. If you don't have the Google Play Store installed, none of these examples in the next two sections are going to work.